Welcome to beautiful Penticton, British Columbia, where today I have the 2018 Lexus NX, and this is a mid-cycle refresh. This vehicle was launched back in 2014 and has since become a staple in the Lexus portfolio. So what's new for 2018? Well, you really need to be a Lexus connoisseur to tell the difference. And starting on the outside, we've got a revised front bumper, a revised rear bumper. We've got different wheel options this year, brand new taillights and headlights. But that's just about it. Pretty subtle changes there. Now on the inside, much of the same with the exception of a now available 10.3-inch infotainment screen, which is huge. And if you opt for that, it is an option. That's the biggest in class. So today we're going to go for a nice drive and talk about all of that stuff and see if Lexus has managed to take a great car and make it even better. So lots of subtle changes on the outside for this refreshed NX, and that theme definitely continues on the inside, where it's more or less the 2017 with a couple of minor tweaks. So I'll start with the small stuff first, and that is some updated, slightly changed switchgear and trim pieces here, but really what everyone's talking about is this now available 10.3-inch navigation screen. The standard screen is 8-inch. If you opt up in this vehicle, you can get 10.3, which is class leading, and I can tell you it's beautiful, very sharp, looks attractive, very clear. And I personally am partial to interacting with an infotainment system via a scroll wheel. Very popular. A lot of manufacturers, especially German manufacturers, like to go that route. Now Lexus has done something different. It is a touchpad down here in the center console, and it took a little bit of getting used to, but I have to say it certainly does the trick. It has a little bit of haptic feedback, which you can actually adjust in the settings panel. So all around a great system, and I have a feeling I'd get used to that touchpad after a week or two. So a very high quality, refined, neat, tidy interior on this NX, which is of course what you've come to expect from Lexus. And I'm really excited now to get it on the road and see how this drives. Well, everybody knows how popular crossovers and SUVs are. In fact, 68% of all vehicles sold in Canada are either trucks, crossovers, or SUVs. So this is a really big space for manufacturers. And this is a really, really important vehicle for Lexus. Now, I talked to them this morning, and their rep told us that when they launched this vehicle 4 years ago, they knew it would be popular. They knew it would be one of their mainline vehicles, but it has far exceeded their expectations. This NX is now responsible for 27% of Lexus sales in Canada. It's the second most popular vehicle they have in their portfolio, and the F Sport, which is the one I'm in right now, accounts for 47% of all NXs sold. So it's clear that they're attracting a younger audience, they're attracting a style forward audience that's looking for a premium crossover vehicle with a lot of edgy style and practicality to boot. And they've done a couple of cool things to cater to that audience and to offer some value and differentiate themselves from other manufacturers in this space. And one of the big things in my mind, and I really, really like this, is offering a lot of standard safety feature with the base model. So regardless of whether you get the baseline model or the fully spec'd version of this NX, you're getting things like a cross-traffic collision alert. You're getting a system that'll slow you down to a complete stop if you're backing into something or someone. It also has blind spot detection and radar cruise control. So all these really nice features that are standard on this vehicle that with others, especially the Germans, you've got to pay an arm and a leg for. So let's start with the drivetrain, which is carried over from the 2017 model, and that's probably not a bad thing because it was a high point of the vehicle. 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 235 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque, way down low, just over 1,600 RPM. So definitely a lot of accessible power there. And I've had a couple of overtake maneuvers and certainly not wanting for power in the NX. Transmission, could be better in my opinion. It's a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now the competitors have moved on to 7, 8, 9, and sometimes 10-speed transmissions, but this vehicle has still managed to deliver some pretty crisp shifts. Things tighten up a fair bit when you move over into Sport and Sport Plus mode, and even with 6 speeds, it's delivering pretty impressive fuel economy. So in the hybrid, obviously slightly different story there. We average 7.9 liters per 100 kilometers in a pretty mixed cycle. And I'm just under 9 right now, and I've been using my right foot pretty often. So for a crossover vehicle, those are good numbers. In fact, on paper, Lexus says this is class leading. So we'll get on the highway, we'll test that theory out. But all in all, I find the drivetrain is a high point of this vehicle, quiet, smooth power delivery, lots of torque down low, which is where you need it if you live in a city, or if you're towing something, or if you got kids in the back. So really nice and refined in what you've come to expect from Lexus. When you equip your NX with the F Sport package, which is more than 40% of NXs sold here in Canada, it comes with not only a really sporty exterior look, but slightly sportier driving dynamics. So you do get a stiffer suspension, and there's an optional adaptive suspension. So what that's going to do is allow you to toggle from your regular mode down to your Sport Plus mode. It's going to firm the suspension up. Now, that's kind of regular across the entire industry at this point. But it's adaptive in a passive way, if that makes sense, and that even when you don't control it down here with your drive mode selector, it's adjusting based on the road surface. So there's 650 some odd points of adjustment that dampers can make, and that's happening without you ever knowing it, to provide you with the best, most appropriate ride. So again, that is an optional feature. You're gonna have to pay for it, but it's one I think you're gonna wanna have, especially if, like me, you're more into driving dynamics. Another change for 2018 is the name of this NX. So if you recall, up until 2017, this was referred to as the NX 200, and the hybrid was the NX 300H, which made sense because, well, that was a hybrid, and this is a 2-liter turbocharged engine. However, now this vehicle is called the NX 300, and we asked why they bothered with this change, and the answer was that the number 300 more closely resembles the horsepower of this vehicle. Now, it's got 235 horsepower, so 235 is closer to 200 than it is to 300, but heck, that's what they're going for. Well, there are a few things about this NX that I'm not crazy about. For starters, there's quite a bit of road noise that permeates into the cabin. Now, Lexus was proud of the fact that they had made some strides in this area, primarily through a very thorough reworking of the suspension bits, but my co-pilot and I still felt as though there was a lot of room for improvement. As big and beautiful and bright as that new infotainment system is, that trackpad is going to drive some people bananas. I was able to get used to it, but I tell you what, I still prefer a good old-fashioned scroll wheel. The NX also struggles with rear passenger room, and I think that tall drivers are going to feel very cramped with limited legroom and headroom. Due to the heavily stylized rear end of this vehicle, rear visibility is compromised from the driver's seat, and as you can see here, passengers end up staring directly into a pillar. Rear cargo space is average. It slots just behind the BMW X1 and just beats out the Audi Q3 by a hair. When the seats are folded down, you'll open up more space, but those seats don't fold completely flat, which does make loading in large objects a challenge. That said, this is a compact crossover vehicle, and you're going to find issues like this throughout the category. Well, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. And that's definitely the philosophy that Lexus has followed with their very popular NX. What they've done here is take an already neat, tidy package and make it that much better. So it's very comfortable, very composed, but actually quite fun to drive. I think the changes to the suspension have been effective and really successful here. Now, the big polarizing factor is the styling. I like it, so I'm game for this vehicle, but I know it'll stop some people dead in their tracks. Either way, you gotta hand it to Lexus for going out on a limb in a category full of cars that, well, more or less look the same. So here we've got a rock solid vehicle that's fun to drive, great power, reliable, fuel efficient, big long warranty, and that Lexus brand dependability. This is a great all-around option if you're in the market for a premium crossover vehicle.